are back. We are visiting actually with Mike, who is the director of Border Narcotics Intelligence in Arizona. And we have been talking about Fast and Furious, illegal immigration, and it has been a fascinating conversation, and it has shown without question that the Obama administration is culpable in much of the crimes that are going on the southern border. And now we are going to move to the narcotics portion of the conversation. Mike, can you tell us how prevalent this problem is there on the southern border?
This is very prevalent. Out of the hundreds of pounds a day of marijuana alone that are confiscated by the Border Patrol and the officers at Customs and Border Protection at the ports of entry is astounding in itself. And the drugs that get through is tenfold in a day. Tons of marijuana a day, and hundreds of pounds of cocaine and methamphetamine get up into our cities every single day in this country.
Let me ask this question then. Congressman Ron Paul, who is running for the presidency of the United States of America, has said that he would legalize drugs. Would that solve the problem?
No.
Why?
Absolutely not. Well, for one, the cartels wouldn't be a recognized supplier. Two, they're going to make their money in the amounts they like to make on a daily basis in one fashion or another. And you're always going to have a black market. You're always going to have a black market. Anything that is legalized in this country, there's a black market for it illegally.
Why?
That includes liquor, guns, whatever. Because there's always somebody who wants to make the money from that product that is not legal themselves to actually be licensed to sell it.
Oh, yeah.
And if you legalize drugs in this country, you're still going to have people committing crimes to get the money to buy the prescription drug, the legal drug. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's
not a good policy, and he has.
And Ron Paul is being a little off color there with he can't legalize nothing on his own. He needs a Congress and a Senate to do that also. So his comment on that is actually foolish.
Well,
to say that he would legalize drugs because he doesn't have the power to do that.
True, but what his plan is if he is made president, he's going to issue a pardon to everyone in prison on a drug charge.
Well, you know what? That would probably get him impeached probably pretty fast.
Why?
A lot of the people that are in our prisons on drug charges are some pretty nasty people. It's not just people with possession charges. The vast majority of the people are in there for dealing and for committing violent crimes in the course of their felonies. That is even a more crazier statement that I've ever heard in my life. It's almost laughable. It's almost laughable. So scary. Absolutely. I mean, to pardon everybody for the drug crime, that's ridiculous.
It really is. Now,
it's ridiculous.
It is. I mean, there are a few reasons I'm not supporting the man for president, and that's one of them. Okay, now, a few months ago, you guys received word that the drug cartels were planting IEDs in the drug bundles. Can you tell us how you guys found out about that, if it is still a problem to this day, or was it a real problem? Well,
we had gotten word from contacts up out of Mexico, and that claim had been made before and circulated in the drug world, and we think it was actually by the cartels to throw the police off balance when they found drugs, take up more of their time. To my knowledge, no IEDs have been found here in Arizona yet, but that stuff comes through, and we have to take it credible, and it needs to be reported to law enforcement. You get a deputy, it's on the desert, he comes across a few bundles of marijuana. You don't want him just walking up to it and, picking it up and taking it back to his car. Anything is possible. And it would not surprise me that will happen one day. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah, I don't either. Looking at the reports that we've received here in America that the Hamas, or is it Hezbollah? I think it was Hamas, has gotten into bed with the drug cartels in Mexico and are there working hand in hand with them. I believe that we're seeing signs of that influence in many, many ways. Do you agree?
Yes, but Hamas there is a presence of Hamas, but Hezbollah is bigger.
So Hezbollah is there. I never can remember which one is down there.
Hamas does have a presence, but not a very big one. But Hezbollah has a major presence in Mexico, and we don't honestly believe that the cartels are aligning with them because they have a totally different value system. But we do believe that Hezbollah uses the cartels to smuggle their people into our country.
Okay, you said the drug cartels have a value system?
Well, yes, to a certain point. There are certain things that they will and will not do. And we honestly don't believe they will align with the Muslims because there's a lot of different religious factors there and stuff like that. And cartels, Mexican cartels in particularly, are a very independent bunch. Now, they will pay Hezbollah to teach them things, and that's as far as the relationship will go. A lot of the beheadings that you're seeing, that came from Hezbollah. There's no question.
Well, I know it did, and this is just me coming from a person who has no frame of reference for this type of behavior. But if you're willing to behead people, I'm stunned that you have any values at all.
Well, that's true. I can't call it a value, but it's in their alignment system.
A standard that they have?
If you want to call it a standard, Mexicans are very independent. You don't know how to label it, but it's just, Mexicans are very independent. Will they use them? Sure, they'll use them. Do they take their money to smuggle their people in here? Absolutely, they do. They do it on a daily basis. Chinese nationals are picking up again. We heard from a Nogales officer's wife that they got 4 Chinese nationals just last week down in Nogales, Arizona, coming across.
Coming through the southern border? I thought they came in through the ports. Well,
they do. And people realize this. Canada has a huge illegal immigration problem they're trying to crack down on. This is worldwide in every country. And the Mexican cartels are in several countries. Australia has a big problem with the Mexican cartels as well as Africa. And they import a lot of poppy from Afghanistan. Absolutely. Mexican drug cartels are not just in Mexico or the United States. They're all over the world.
Wow. Well, then, you would think it would behoove all of the nations to work together to get them shut down. I read an article just a few weeks ago that one town, the school teachers didn't even go to work because the cartel is now levying a tax on all the teachers there in the village, a village, town, I don't know what to call it, and they are they're demanding 50%. So there's already what the government takes, and the cartel is saying pay us 50% or else.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. Are the cartels moving into the government openly enough now that they are levying a tax on the people?
There are cartels that actually have holds of towns and cities that actually take over collecting the tax payments and levying taxes against the people. And your thing about this teachers is absolutely correct. 140 schools around Mexico City closed because the teachers wouldn't go to work. They were demanding 8,000 pesos a month from these people, which was half their pay. And they demanded that the schools turn over their home phone numbers and addresses and their names.
Yes, I saw that. It was horrifying.
We posted that.
That must be how I saw it, Mike.
Sure, it is. It's very terrifying. I mean, they're moving in on large levels. Pardon?
I really do read what you guys post.
Well, good. We're glad that you do, and because that's why we do it. We don't have time to be on Facebook, but we make time amongst several of us to be there to post news so people see what's going on. And it's astounding. Our government, if I were President of the United States, our government would have U.S. military, National Guard on the border catching anything that came across.
Well, it'd have to be National Guard enacted by the governors of each state.
By the governors of each state, and that's easily done. I see Rick Perry doing it, I see Jan Brewer doing it, and I see the governor of New Mexico doing it.
Rick Perry hasn't done it enough, though.
No, he hasn't, but he's done more than Arizona has. I'll give him that.
Really?
The state of Arizona, we've put no guards on there. He's put air units of the Guard on his border. His Texas DPS is second to none. Texas Rangers are the ultimate in fighting cartels.
They are, yes.
Without
question.
And Rick Perry also cannot go everything on his own. He has a legislature to answer to also. But here in Arizona, we have law. big deal. Criminals don't abide by laws.
No, they
We know
don't.
this. We know this. Jan Brewer has not. She's requested the government send guard troops. There's some down there. All they do is observe and report.
Well, that's
They don't make arrests.
Yeah. Do
Pardon?
they do any good? Does our National Guard, with the observe kind of nonsense?
They do. They keep Border Patrol very busy.
Well, trained soldiers down there to observe.
Yeah.
What's the point?
They observe.
Are they
Well,
doing it?
they do call it in. They say, okay, we've got 12 coming here or whatever. They do. But we honestly believe they're not being strategically placed by Border Patrol. They're under the direction of Border Patrol. And
Why?
Border Patrol's upper management tells them where to be, because that's who they report to when they see illegals or drug smugglers. They report that. And drug smugglers, I do believe they will stop. They are armed. This we know for a fact. We sat in the desert one night and watched about 6 of them and observed them and what they did. And they were armed.
Sheriff Beview said that he has a kill on sight, or no, that's not quite right. Order for his tactical teams that go out at night. But basically, if someone is approaching them and they lift a gun, there's not a question. They just shoot.
Exactly.
And he has to do that.
If you're approaching law enforcement in any fashion with a firearm, you're best to have it holstered or your rifle shouldered, not in your hands, because they will drop you,
well, and
justifiably so.
I have said, and I do want to know your opinion on this. I have said, California was ordered by their court system that they had to release 30% of the prisoners in their prison system because they were overflowing.
Yeah.
And so I made a suggestion. That all the criminals that are in the California prison that are illegal immigrants be sent back to their countries of origin to serve their sentences out there, with the order to both them, the prison system, and the government that if they cross the border again, they'll be shot on sight. Now, I was savaged by a columnist in the Salt Lake Tribune and some members of the Republican Party for having said something like that. But is there anything wrong with that?
The thing with California is, yes, courts do mandate that they alleviate overcrowding, and justifiably so. You cannot pack people in like sardines like that. There's laws and there's regulations. The U.S. Bureau of Prisons has to follow them, and jails, county jails, and prisons across the United States get overcrowded, and they get to a point where the court says, okay, you're going to have to make arrangements. And California's choice here is to take the ones that have ICE holds and just kick them loose and not even contact ICE. This is how pro-illegal immigration, or not this is how pro-illegal alien the state of California is.
I know.
There's people in their jails that are going to be cut loose that have ICE holds on them. They're not going to contact ICE. And legally, they don't have to. And
I
that
know.
in itself
And
is
California never would, without question. But see, here's the thing. They have an abnormally large population of illegal aliens in their prison system.
Sure, it's a sanctuary state.
Yes, they could easily, just by doing what I suggested, solve the problem without releasing criminals into the American population.
Sure,
They're not doing that. But anyway, yeah, it was the fact that I said they should be warned that they'd be shot on sight if they come back across the border that got me into so much trouble.
Well, the thing is you don't know. The thing with that is you don't know who it is until they're caught. And we still have a legal system and a rule of law. And until the law is changed, you can't just judge and jury somebody. We have people here in Arizona. We're so multicultural that you don't know who's who. In order to shoot them, you would have to stop and investigate them and then stand them up and shoot them. And I just don't think our country's into that. What I mean?
Like my sister said, oh, gosh, it caused a firestorm on Facebook and
I'm sure it did.
And on
I'm
radio.
sure it did. Absolutely.
And my sister finally said to all these people who are attacking me, she said, it's not like these people are going to run back across the border with the Bible in their hands.
No, they don't. And like I said, we're so multicultural here in Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, even California. There's people who walk on foot from the Tohono O'odham Reservation who have family across the border, and they come and go as they please. And you don't, and some of the Indians actually from the reservation have been caught by Border Patrol and deported without evidence of them even being illegal, and they're actually citizens on the reservation. That's a problem. But yeah, the culture is here. They were here hundreds of years ago.
Okay.
We came in, and we have a lot of legal Mexicans here with family across the border. But the days of visiting cross-border on foot, that needs to stop. They have to use the ports of entry, even if it means building a few more, because our desert border is vast here. It's very huge, wide open.
And if they want to continue just wandering back and forth across the border, they're going to have to face the consequences of being possibly deported when they shouldn't be. You and I, Mike, have to abide by the laws of this land. You and I have to do everything. We have to obey every law. The illegals are not being forced to do the same, and that's the issue I have with the whole problem, is that we have allowed the drug cartels to invade every portion of our nation with their poisonous product.
It started in the late 60s, and it's gone through all up to date. Their foothold in this country is so great, it's culminated through all the years. I mean, the longer they're let go to do this, the more foothold they're going to get. It's huge here. It's a lot bigger problem than people think.
Oh, I know. It's insane.
They're in every major American city and a lot of the smaller towns and burgs in the countrysides. They're there.
Oh,
they are here.
Farm. Yeah, the marijuana farms that you talked about that are here in Utah that are so huge, they're up in the mountains. They're up above the small towns, and they're not in the big towns. They're not stupid.
No, their distribution hubs are. And you take a truckload of marijuana, you pull into the garage, you shut the garage door, you offload it.
Right.
And it goes off to wherever it's ordered to go.
So what's the solution, Mike?
Close the border. Close the border of this country. Get our federal agents, local law enforcement together and start arresting them. If you have to build prisons out of block buildings or tents, I don't care. But something needs to be done about this, and done now. George Bush was told about this.
Close the border.
Military. It's the most vast amount of manpower we have. National Guard. Every state has a National Guard. Put them on the border. The governors need to activate their National Guards, and if you have to, sue the federal government for the cost. If the federal government would have any honor or any respect for this country, they would offer the states the money to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Because National Guard can make an arrest, but at the same time, they got to come up with provisions to house them, feed them, and medical care.
Well, and I understand that, but have you heard Sheriff Review's plan, what he did in Yuma?
I do. I know all about it.
How effective has that been? I know that they had a reduction, 97% reduction of illegal immigrants coming through that county, but I'm understanding that it's getting to be a little more porous now. And so I was wondering if you knew
Yuma sector, Babu as a major, I believe in an engineering unit, built the fence down through Yuma, and Yuma sector was considered 93% secure. And in the last few months, Yuma has started to get more and more drug confiscations. They just got a big one there yesterday.
What happened? Why is it more porous all of a sudden?
Because the U.S. government pulls resources from the area.
Well, of course they do. So
nothing going on here. So you guys go work over here.
Yeah, Sheriff. Oh, okay. Don't get me started. Sheriff Babu, his plan and what he did in Yuma County, if that was implemented across the entire southern and northern borders, would we be a more secure nation?
Yes.
Do you know how much money it cost for him to do what he did there? He was still in the military when he did that, right?
Yes, he was. I don't know what the figures were to build that fence, but it's worth it. For what is your security worth? I guess I'll put the question back on you. What is your security worth?
Everything.
If they levied a 1.5% sales tax in this country to strictly build a fence and secure the border, the only ones that wouldn't be for that in this country would be this administration.
And the illegals.
The illegals, in my opinion, but illegals don't have a vote because they're not eligible to vote.
If they did a 1.5% national sales tax for a specific amount of time, and guaranteed that those funds would go only to the securing of the border to implement sheriff abuse plan across the entire northern and southern border. And there was a civilian oversight so that we could make sure the government wasn't robbing Peter to pay Paul like they do with Social Security.
Right.
I'd be for that in a heartbeat.
Most Americans would. Any true-blooded American who cares about their security would. The Democratic Party, and there's even some in the Republican Party. If this goes back to Bush's amnesty and and stuff, that I honestly believe the federal government has some kind of an agreement with Mexico on this. I've never seen it, and I've searched it, but I honestly believe that because Mexico has come so close to bankruptcy so many times, and we have bailed them out with billions of dollars as well as other countries.
Constantly.
And now they have this influx. Unemployment in Mexico is 5%.
That's because they're all up here, Mike.
And what little jobs are left there, people are working them. Absolutely. And you've got NAFTA, Ford Motor Company, General Motors, Chrysler. They all have factories down there. Why? People here need those jobs. That's
right. We really need to bring all of the manufacturing back to America. It's got to stay here. The quality of product that comes from these other nations is nowhere near our standards or our safety standards even.
No.
And we do need to bring those back. Mike, we're coming up on another break, and then we'll have the last 15 minutes of the interview. And what I would like to discuss is Border Narcotics Intelligence, how you guys came together, what your main purpose is, and what you see for the future of your organization, okay?
Sure enough.
All right, be right back.
Okay.